Hey there, scribe. Sarah here, and welcome to the very first episode of the Write Podcast. I'm so glad you're here and spending this time with me. Because you are here, that tells me that you're a writer. Whether you're dreaming of becoming one, or you've just started penning your first novel, or maybe you've already written and published a dozen novels. You are a writer and you're in the right place. This show was made for you, my friend. So, I created this podcast because, quite simply, writing can be lonely. It's just you and a blank page and 1,000 swirling thoughts. And even though we love what we do, we can sometimes feel like we're doing it all in isolation. I wanted to create a space where we can connect, where I can share what I've learned over the past decade as a writer, book coach, and indie publisher, and where you'll feel like you're a part of a community of passionate storytellers. Years ago, I ran a podcast that built a beautiful community of writers, and I loved it. But like so many things, it paused during the pandemic. Since then, I've missed the conversations, the learning, the shared love of storytelling. And I've never stopped listening to podcasts or audiobooks. They're my constant writing companions. So here I am, back behind the mic. But this podcast isn't going to be the same as the old one. This time I'm changing it up a little. So, what can you expect from this show? This podcast will drop new episodes weekly, and they'll fall into three main types. There'll be the solo episodes like this, where I'll pull back the curtain and share practical tools, tips, and mindset shifts to help you plan, write, revise, and publish your books. Think of this as a blend of book coaching and coffee chat. We'll also be talking some woo here, so we'll put the woo into work. And there'll be guest interviews. I'll be chatting with successful authors and industry professionals. People who have walked the path, made the mistakes, and learned what works. You'll hear real talk about writing, publishing, marketing, and staying inspired. And once a month, I'm going to be inviting a special guest in to deep dive into a newly released novel. We'll discuss what worked and what didn't, and what writers like us can learn from it. So if you love reading with your writer brain turned on, you'll love these book club chats. So who am I? Well, if we haven't met before, I'm Sarah Williams. I'm a book coach, an author, a publisher, and a bit of a writing nerd. Okay, not just a bit, I'm a big-time writing nerd. I've helped hundreds of writers plan, write, and finish their books. I've written and published 9 romance novels, which have all hit bestseller lists. They've been translated, and I've personally turned them into audiobooks. I'm a bit of a tech nerd, I'm a creative entrepreneur, and I run Serenade Publishing, which is a boutique publishing house I created because writers deserve a nurturing and supportive environment where they can be encouraged and uplifted in their creative journey. I'm endlessly obsessed with stories and storytelling and the magic of putting words together. That's why I wanted to create the Write Podcast, so we can connect and stay inspired and let our creativity flourish together. This episode is proudly sponsored by the Sunshine Coast Fiction Festival, one of the most exciting new events on the Australian literary calendar, and I'm thrilled to say I'm hosting it. Join myself and over 80 other authors and vendors for a 3-day festival of creative inspiration, community, and conversations at Venue 114 in Bocarina, just minutes from the beach and surrounded by the vibrant writing culture of the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Whether you're a brand new writer dreaming up your first novel or an established author wanting to connect and learn and celebrate this wild creative life, we've got something for you. And bring all your bookish and reader friends too. The weekend is devoted to bookish fun and your chance to meet and chat with authors of all fiction genres, including romance, science fiction, fantasy, crime, and children's. There'll be workshops, panel discussions, author Q&As, and plenty of time to mingle and network and get inspired. You'll hear from some of the biggest names in fiction, including Stephanie Holmes, who's a USA Today best-selling author of dark, delicious fantasy. A.K. Mulford, a Sunshine Coast local who writes fantasy novels, rom-coms, and she's a BookTok star with a heart for magical stories. Rachel Johns is one of Australia's favourite authors of women's fiction and rural romance. Cadence Snow, she's a beloved in the indie romance scene for her gripping and emotional stories. And T.L. Swan, queen of spicy international bestsellers with legions of devoted fans. And Candice Fox, award-winning crime writer and screenwriter whose thrillers you cannot put down. And of course, I'll be there too. Not just as your host, but with my own table at the signing, ready to chat, sign books, and cheer you on wherever you are in your writing journey. This is your chance to meet some of your favourite authors, connect with other passionate readers and writers, and soak up an atmosphere of creative energy that will stay with you long after the day ends. Tickets are already selling fast, and this is a 3-day event, so if you're thinking about coming, don't wait. The Sunshine Coast Fiction Festival is proudly sponsored by Serenade Publishing, the Queensland Writers Centre, the Sunshine Coast Libraries, and Baventi. Head to sunshinecoastfictionfestival.com.au to check out the full program and book your ticket now. I can't wait to see you there. Let's be real. Writing is hard. I know the highs of finishing a draft and the lows of doubting every single word. I know what it feels like to hit a wall, and I know the joy of writing something that finally clicks. That's why I want this show to be encouraging, honest, and packed with things you can actually use, not just fluff. This podcast isn't just about me talking into a microphone, it's about us. I'd love for you to subscribe, share the show with writer friends, and send me any questions or episode ideas you have. You can find me on Instagram at Sarah Williams Author, or sign up for my newsletter where I share bonus tips and writing resources every week. Head over to serenadepublishing.com. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share it near and wide. Thank you so much for being here for this first episode. I can't wait to walk alongside you on your writing journey and see where your creativity and writing takes you. Until next week, keep writing, keep dreaming, and remember, you don't have to do it alone. Bye for now.